everybody. This week we're going to talk about probability. So you can investigate the concept of probability as a measurement of chance. Notice that this is part 1 of 2. So after the introduction this week, we will do some more work with probability. This lesson, just like the past lessons, should take you about 60 minutes. You are free to split it up as you wish. And please just make sure that you are posting samples of your work to Seesaw. So when I say the word probability, really what is it? What does probability mean? I'm going to give you just about 10 to 15 seconds of think time to make your own prediction about what probability is. All right, hopefully you have an idea. Let's move on. Probability is how likely something is to happen. It's also known as chance. It can be expressed as fractions, decimals or percentages, and in 3rd grade we don't really talk much about decimals, but we do talk about percentages. And we can express it on a probability scale, which I'll show you in a moment. When we're talking about probability or the chance that an event will happen, we can use these following words. An event might be certain to happen. An event could be very likely, likely, it could be unlikely, it could be very unlikely, and an event could also be impossible. This is the probability scale that I was talking to you about a moment ago. We can take all of those important words and we can place them on the scale from impossible on the left to certain on the right. If an event is impossible, that means that there is a 0% chance of it happening, kind of like the middle of the circle has nothing filled in, 0. An event can be unlikely. That means that there's a 1/4 or a 1/4 chance of it happening, a 25% chance of it happening. This circle has 25% of it shaded. An event can be equally likely. So if you look down at the circle, you see that half of it's shaded and half of it's not shaded. 50% is shaded, 50% is not shaded. So if it's equally likely to happen, we say that it has a 50% chance of occurring. We can also say it's 50-50. If we move over to the right, an event could be likely. That means it will probably happen. We can express it as a percentage. So an event might be 75% likely to occur. That means it's most likely going to happen. Or we can also say that an event is certain to happen. If it's certain to happen, that means that there's a 100% chance of it occurring. Think about these words, very unlikely. If you were to place those two words somewhere up on the scale, where would that be? Take your finger and point or place your finger on the scale where you think it's going to happen. Hopefully you put your finger right about here. Look at the words very likely. Okay, if you were to place very likely up here, where do you think that would occur? Put your finger on that spot. Hopefully you put your finger right about here. So a little bit ago, I took a couple of screenshots from the weather app on my phone. Now this screen is very busy, and so I'm going to break it down and kind of explain what this all means. Today is Tuesday. It is May 19th. I can tell from this diagram over here that the sun rose at 5:53 in the morning, and it's going to set at 8:08 tonight. I can tell that the high temperature today will be 61 degrees. I know that the wind is out of the northeast at 23 miles an hour, and I can tell that there's an 80% chance overall of it raining today. The forecast quickly calls for clouds, rain, and wind. Learning more about it, we see that showers are early, becoming a steady rain for the afternoon. It's going to be windy. The high is going to be 61. The winds are out of the northeast at 20 to 30 miles an hour. The chance of rain is 80%, and there are higher wind gusts possible. This screenshot was taken from a long range of hours between 4 and 9. So on my weather app, I could scroll and I could see the forecast for 3, 2 p.m., 1 p.m., and I could scroll farther and find the forecast for 10 p.m., 11 p.m. I didn't need all that. I just took a screenshot of what's going to happen with the weather between 4 and 9 p.m. If I go back up here, this is the current condition. So right now it's 58 degrees. It feels like 54 because of the winds cooling it off a little bit. There will be a high of 61 degrees today, and the low was 55, which already happened. It is cloudy right now. I can tell that there is a coastal flood warning. And if I follow the time from left to right, it goes from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. At 4 o'clock, it's going to be 59 degrees, and there's a 70% possibility of rain happening. At 5 o'clock, the temp went down. The possibility of rain went up a little bit, so it's more likely to rain at 5 o'clock than it was at 7. Than it was at 4. If I look at 6 p.m., the temperature dropped, but the possibility of rain stayed the same. Look at 7 o'clock. Temperature stayed the same. Possibility of rain stayed the same. 8 o'clock. Temperature stayed the same. Possibility of rain stayed the same. At 9 o'clock, temperature fell a little bit, and the possibility of rain went down also. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to think about these words over in the white box, and I want you to develop a couple of statements about the probability of some of the data that you see on your screen. I'm going to give you about 30 seconds of think time. You don't have to write your probability statement down, just think. At the end of the 30 seconds, I'm going to go ahead and share with you my statements that I'm going to create. All right, think time starts now. All right, so here are my statements. Certain. All right, if I go to the word Tuesday, the day of the week, Tuesday, I can say that it is certain that tomorrow will be Wednesday. Easy. Very likely. If I go over to this area right here, and I look at the possibility of rain at 5, 6, 7, and 8, all 4 of those hours have an 80% possibility of rain. So I'm going to say it is very likely that it will rain today between 5 and 8 p.m. Likely. I read up here that it's going to be windy. I read that there's going to be 20 to 30 mile an hour gusts. So I'm going to say it is likely to be very windy today. Unlikely. It is unlikely that today will be a good beach day. Very unlikely. Well, all I see for the forecast from all these time periods is clouds. I see a cloud here. We know that when it rains for hours on end, we also see clouds. So I'm going to say it is very unlikely that the sun is going to come out today. And finally, the last one, impossible. If I go back up to Tuesday, May 19th, I'm going to say that it is impossible that tomorrow will be May 10th. So I'm getting ready to set you all free. Here are some instructions and reminders. Number 1, split up this lesson as you wish. However, if you decide to take a break, and that's fine, don't close your Nearpod tab. If you close your Nearpod tab, you're going to lose the work you've done already. And finally, boys and girls, please go in order. Do not jump around in Nearpod and complete things at the end before you've done the things before it. If the next slide in your Nearpod asks you to go to your Go Math workbook and work in that and finish that, then please do that, then return to your Nearpod and continue with the rest of your slides. We develop lessons so that your brain will learn in a logical order. And if you go out of order, you're jeopardizing the gains that you will make in your instruction and in your learning. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get off of the screencast. I'm going to let you guys finish the rest of your lesson by yourself. Let us know if you have any problems or questions. But this is Miss Cardin signing off. Work hard, stay positive, do good. Okay? Bye.